A maid, or housemaid. A maidservant is a female person employed in domestic service, although now usually found only in the most wealthy of households. In the Victorian era, domestic service was the second largest category of employment in England and Wales, after agricultural work. Description: once part of an elaborate hierarchy in great houses, today a single maid may be the only domestic worker that upper and even middle-income households can afford, as was historically the case for many households. In the contemporary Western world, comparatively few households can afford live and domestic help, usually compromising on periodic cleaners. In less developed nations, very large differences in the income of urban and rural households and between different socio-economic classes, fewer educated women and limited opportunities for working women ensures a labor source for domestic work. Maids perform typical domestic chores such as cooking, ironing, washing, cleaning the house, grocery shopping, walking the family dog, and taking care of children. In many places in some poor countries, maids often take on the role of a nurse in taking care of the elderly and people with disabilities. Many maids are required by their employers to wear a uniform. Legislation in many countries makes certain living conditions, working hours, or minimum wage is a requirement of domestic service. Nonetheless, the work of a maid has always been hard, involving a full day and extensive duties. Historically, many maids suffered from prepatellar bursitis, an inflammation of the prepatellar bursa caused by long periods spent on the knees for purposes of scrubbing and fire lighting, leading to the condition attracting the colloquial name of housemaid's knee. The word maid itself is short for maiden, meaning virgin. In great houses of England, domestic workers, particularly those low in the hierarchy, such as maids and footmen, were expected to remain unmarried while in service, and even highest-ranking workers such as butlers could be fired for marrying. Types of maid. Maids traditionally have a fixed position in the hierarchy of the large households, and although there is overlap between definitions, the positions themselves would typically be rigidly adhered to. The usual classifications of maid in a large household are: lady's maid, a senior servant who reported directly to the lady of the house, but ranked beneath the housekeeper, and accompanied her lady on travel. Housemaid. A housemaid, a generic term for maids whose function was chiefly above stairs, and were usually a little older and better paid. Where a household included multiple housemaids, they were often subdivided as below. Head housemaid, the senior housemaid, reporting to the housekeeper. Parlour maid. The parlourmaids cleaned and tidied reception rooms and living areas by morning, and often served refreshments at afternoon tea, and sometimes also dinner. They tidied studies and libraries, and answered bells calling for service. Chambermaid. The chambermaids cleaned and maintained the bedrooms, ensured fires were lit in fireplaces, and supplied hot water. Laundry maid. The laundry maids maintained bedding and towels. They also washed, dried, and ironed clothes for the whole household, including the servants. Under house parlour maid, the general deputy to the house parlour maid in a small establishment which had only 2 upstairs maids. Nursery maid. Also an upstairs maid, but one who worked in the children's nursery, maintaining fires, cleanliness, and good order, reported to the nanny rather than the housekeeper. Kitchen maid. A below-stairs maid who reported to the cook, and assisted in running the kitchens. Head kitchen maid. Where multiple kitchen maids were employed, the head kitchen maid was effectively a deputy to the cook, engaged largely in the plainer and simpler cooking. Under kitchen maid. Where multiple kitchen maids were employed, these were the staff who prepared vegetables, peeled potatoes, and assisted in presentation of finished cooking for serving. Scullery maid, the lowest grade of below-stairs maid. Reporting to the cook, the scullery maids were responsible for washing cutlery, crockery, and glassware, and scrubbing kitchen floors, as well as monitoring ovens while kitchen maids ate their own supper. Between maid, roughly equivalent in status to scullery maids, and often paid less. The between maids in a large household waited on the senior servants and were therefore answerable to all three department heads, often leading to friction in their employment. Still-room maid, a junior maid employed in the still-room, as the work involved the supply of alcohol, cosmetics, medicines, and cooking ingredients across all departments of the house. The still-room maids were part of the between staff, jointly answerable to all three department heads, butler, housekeeper, and cook. In more modest households, a single maid of all work, a skivvy, was often the only staff. It is possible this word originates from the Italian for slave. In popular culture, one of the most in-depth and enduring representations of the lives of several types of maid was seen in the 1970s television drama Upstairs, Downstairs, set in England between 1903 and 1936. Another representation of the lives of maids is seen nowadays in Downton Abbey, set in England between 1912 and 1926.